What's going on, everybody? So today I'm going to teach you guys, there's a knife in my face. Today I'm going to teach you guys what to do when you have your harvest and you weren't able to sell everything or eat everything and you need to preserve your food a little bit. We're going to go over how to make sauerkraut. So what you need is cabbage, you need caraway seeds, and you need sea salt. And what we've done here is we've kind of pulled off the outer layer of the cabbage that was kind of getting brittle and dry. And all we're going to do is we're going to cut out that heart real quick. Ooh, this knife is old.
Yeah. So how do I get the heart out? Just
All right.
this part?
So you notice that the heart is right there. That part's not going to be able to ferment as sauerkraut. So we're going to cut that out real quick.
Like so?
Yep, that's perfect. And some of our scraps we're going to give to our birds, but these little hearts we can actually take out and stew ourselves. If you stew them long enough, they'll still be pretty good. Alright, you ready for the next step?
Yep.
Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take our half here and we're just going to cut about that big, 1/4 inch slices. And it doesn't really matter how you cut them, just as long as they're pretty thin. I'm going to steal one of Jess's real quick and show you that when it's like that, you can peel it all apart into these little cabbage bits. You just want to make sure that if you have something like chunky like that guy, that you cut it up even more, or just put it into your little pot for you know, you can saute this in butter or whatever. So I'm just going to get rid of that whole piece. And then as you go, you're going to take your cabbage here and you're going to weigh it out. So we've got a big canning pot back here that we're going to use to start this, and then we're going to move it over to a crock. So that's 1 pound. We'll pour it in a pot. So this recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of sea salt per 6 pounds of cabbage, and 2 tablespoons of caraway seeds per 6 pounds of cabbage. So you guys do the math. We're going to kind of do things differently because I don't know if you guys can see, we are packed full already. So we're going to try and get to 24 pounds and see how much space we have in here, but we're going to put some of our ingredients in right now. Alright, so now we've got our salt and caraway seeds in here. We're just going to kind of rub this around and start working it in. And that salt's going to pull all that moisture out from the cabbage and make a good brine. So we're just going to push this stuff down and just kind of mix it around. And you can already see it's getting lower than it was before. It was about up to here before. So you can see how much it's actually going down. Man, those caraway seeds smell good. It's like Martha Stewart in this bitch. Just a lot less stock trading. A little less Snoop Dogg. So, I'm gonna pull some of the stuff from underneath here. Kind of move it to the top. Get some salt down there. Kind of rotate from the bottom to the top. This stuff. Just keep mashing it down. Mixing it up. I've moved my operation down to the floor here. It's been a couple hours of kneading this, and I've added the last bit of cabbage. Most people aren't going to go through the amount of cabbage that we did. This is 43 pounds of cabbage in here. When you have a lot, we've kind of been adding the salt and caraway seed, estimating how many more pounds we're going to put in, because that salt's going to draw out that moisture. And now we're just going to keep on kneading and pressing, and you could see here that salt is really drawing the moisture out of this cabbage. So now we're going to kind of tear this stuff up. I'd like thinner slices than that. This is kind of like the perfect slice that you want. We're going to kind of break that stuff up. I found a little heart in here earlier, cabbage, what I call a cabbage heart. But we're still going to break this stuff up, and we're just going to push this down and just keep pushing. Now this took, for 43 pounds of cabbage, a couple of hours of work. We're going to have sauerkraut forever. This stuff can last about 6 months in the fridge, so we're going to put it in some mason jars once it's fermented. We'll put it in some mason jars, put it in the fridge. After that 6 months, you won't get the nutritional value from it, but what you can do is you can actually can it in the water canner. It'll kill off all the bacteria, all the healthy, sour, fermented bacteria, but you're still going to get that flavor, and you're not going to have wasted food. You're still going to get some nutrition from it. We might do a video on that too, but you'll see here, you see how there's so much moisture. Maybe I should get on the other side of the camera here. There's so much moisture in there, and essentially what you want to do is you want to keep adding pressure to this. Now the bacteria that's in this is anaerobic, which means in the air it's not going to survive. So you want to keep that cabbage under this. So I'm just going to keep pressing on this throughout the day and get it underneath there. And then what I'm going to do in this pot here is I'm going to add plates. I'm going to add a plate on this side, a plate on this side, a plate on this side, and then a bunch in the middle. And hopefully that'll weigh this down and keep it under the liquid here. So you'll get that all down in the liquid, still breaking stuff apart. Now what we're getting is, I don't know if I called it a stock pot earlier. We're getting a crock. So it's an old style ceramic pot, essentially, and it's got a weight on it. But we've got to wait till Friday till that comes, and I'm kind of in a time crunch here. So I'm going to do kind of a no-no, and I'm going to take this and put this all in the crock once we get the crock here, and then we're going to put the weight on top of it. Now I might lose some of this to contamination because you don't want it to ferment so much that it's going to start getting moldy and stuff, but I definitely want it in that crock. In the meantime, I have this with the lid, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on top with a towel over it. You want to keep this out of the sun, because basically in order to make sauerkraut, all we're doing is we're getting the bacteria to break down the good sugars inside of this cabbage, and it makes it sour. So we're not trying to make a whiskey or a beer and really get it to ferment to the point where it's going to rot. So we're going to leave this. If you do it in a crock, or if you do it in this, or what have you, you can do this in any sort of thing as long as you're using the same method where you're just pushing down, adding the salt, adding the caraway seeds, keep pushing down, and I move mine to the floor where I can get my weight really into it and get it really far down there. And you get it underneath that liquid, and it's going to ferment. You want to keep your house and your temperature between 65 and 70 degrees, and just leave it there for a couple of weeks. And then you're going to have this beautiful homemade fermented cabbage that's full of nutrients, really good for your stomach, really good for your digestive system. You can come back and kind of check this as things go and keep pushing down. I would only do that for the first day though. After that, you kind of want to leave this alone. So see if I can get some plates to work with me here. And you want to make sure everything's clean, right? You don't want any outside bacteria screwing things up. We're gonna kind of try and stagger these a little bit. And I don't really have small plates or anything, but that looks like it's going to keep the majority of the cabbage down where it needs to be underneath. And then we're going to take this guy, we're going to put it on top, and not hard because it is glass, but we're just going to push. And anytime we need to come back and check on it, we're just going to give it a little push, and that cabbage will go down, and that salt's going to pull that moisture more and more, and that cabbage is just going to whittle down to little tiny strips and have that beautiful flavor. So now what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to cover this up with a towel, put it in a dark spot, keeping my house 65 to 70 degrees. So we're going to put this in a place that I can keep an eye on it, keep a towel over it. Nobody's going to mess with it too much. And that's essentially how you make homemade sauerkraut. 43 pounds of it to be exact. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later.